You want to make sure when you get your roses that they are free of pesticides or grown organically. The ones that you get from the stores or the flower shops are not free of pesticides for the most part, so make sure you have a good source. You can take and find wild roses or ones that you have grown yourself that you know you have not added any chemical pesticides to. Those are the best types that you need to look for. Once we've gathered our rose buds, we're going to pull off the petals, and we don't keep this little middle section, so you're going to discard that. You just want the rose petals, and you're going to have some bugs, some dust on there, so you'll see here in a little bit when I take and put a little water over them and rinse them. But it's recommended you use distilled water. However, I am trying out fresh spring water. I've read and researched that if you don't use distilled water, your rose water might turn green. So I thought I would give it a try with the spring water just to see how it would turn out. Here's where I add my water to rinse. Just get off the dust and the petals. Just do a quick rinse. Don't let them sit and soak that long. Just do really quickly and drain that out before you put the petals into your pot. Now what I'm doing here is I'm putting a measuring cup in the middle of my pot. Nothing is going to be inside of this measuring cup. I'm going to add my petals around the pot. And the goal of this is to make some rose water hydrosol that will collect in that measuring cup in the middle, and it will be clear. However, I'm also going to use the water from the boiled roses, and it will be a pink. So there's a difference. The hydrosol I'm going to use for a facial spray. It will be the clear. And then the pink colored from the rose water, well, I'll be using it as a toner. Now you want to make sure that when you pour your water into your pot that none gets into the measuring cup. If it does, you can just take a paper towel or a tea towel or a regular towel and clean that out, dry that out really good. Because the goal is for it to condense from the lid that I will put on. And I have a procedure that I'll show you in order to collect the hydrosol. As you will notice, some of the water did get into that measuring cup, but I do take a paper towel and dry that out before I start to put my lid on. When I get ready to put my lid on, that's going to help it to evaporate because I'm going to add ice into the top of my lid, and I will flip my lid over and I'll show you that process here. So you're going to turn your stove heat setting to medium. And I'm using a gas stove, so I'm going to keep it on medium. And I'm going to let it boil for about 10 minutes. Some of the research says you can let it boil for 20 to 30 minutes, but just long enough to get the color out of your rose petals. And you'll see when the color starts to leave and all of that pink color from the roses will collect into your water. Here I'm adding a glass lid. It's a little bigger than the pot, so it doesn't actually fit with this pot. but I'm turning it upside down. It has a metal handle. You can see there where that steam comes up to the top of the underside of that lid, and it starts to condense and evaporate, and that clear water from the roses will fall into that cup. And what you will do next is you will add ice to the middle of your lid. This helps the evaporation and condensation a lot quicker. And I'm going to do this probably about 2 to 3 times. You can do it longer depending on how much hydrosol rose water you would like, but I'm going to set my timer for about 10 minutes, and I'll do this, I think I did it 2 to 3 times, and let that melt. Another thing I'll point out is you can cover that hole, but I'll just let mine steam. So I have my timer set for 10 minutes, and as soon as this melts, you can take a paper towel or a kitchen towel and soak up that excess water. It will melt because you have steam coming up from the boiling rose petals to melt the ice, but it will keep your lid cool in order to go through the process of creating the hydrosol. So here I'm just taking my towel and I'm soaking up that excess water, and then you can wring your towel out and just keep doing that over and over for a few times. It depends on how much hydrosol rose water you actually want. Okay, now I'm just going to do a quick check and look in there and see how much water I have. If I think I have enough, then I will stop, and that's what I did here. And notice that water in that cup is completely clear, but the water that your roses is in will be a little pinkish. It'll have a pink tint. So that cup will be hot. You saw me touch it to test it, and I'll have to get my oven mitt to get it out. But look at that water, how clear that is. That's your hydrosol. It's condensed down into there. And you can use that for your facial spritzer or spray. And this water is going to be your facial toner. You can use it on your face just like a toner, except you're free of chemicals. All you have here is water and your rose petals, and you boil it, you condense it down, and it's much safer. It's better for your skin. I'll talk about the benefits in just a bit, but here I'm going to drain the rose water into the hydrosol, actually, into this little bottle. I have a 2-ounce amber colored bottle, and I'll drain that down into that. And that also has a spray pump that I'll add to it. So that's your clear hydrosol. And then next I will scoop out the rose petals with a little strainer, making sure to get all of that out. And I'm just going to put it here in my measuring cup since I've already bottled my hydrosol. So scoop all of your rose petals out, and notice your color too. They've lost their color. Notice when I scoop them up, they look kind of yellowish. That pink color has gone out of them for the most part. And that's what I want to see. So next I'm going to start draining my pink rose water that I'll use as my toner. And if you notice my little funnel, it has a little strainer in it to catch any of those rose petals to keep it from going down into the jar. I almost lost it there. But I'm draining the little bit left out of the roses that I scooped out here. And then I will take and pour the water from my pot into the jar. Look at that pretty pink color. Can't wait to use this toner on my face. Now, if you want to, you can put a little bit of a preservative in with your water. I'm not going to put anything in mine, but you're going to refrigerate this once it cools down. I read that you could add maybe a little bit of a vodka or alcohol, just a little, to help preserve it, and then let it cool and put it in the refrigerator. But again, I'm not adding anything to mine. I just have the plain roses with the water, and I have bottled it. I'm going to let it cool before I set it in the refrigerator, and I think it'll keep up to about 10 days to 2 weeks. And my hydrosol spray, I'm going to keep that in my bathroom cabinet.